very good morning and welcome back on this splendid morning of third day of orientation program 2020. I Purnima Mittal enunciate my wholehearted welcome to our Honorable Vice Chancellor Sir, round the clock involved deans, registrars sir, HODs, faculties and parents along with new members of family, dear freshers. The former 2 days were a celebration of welcoming you into the family. The head of the family and eminent leaders from diverse circles expressed their warmth with their words of wisdom. Our proud alumni acquainted you with our rich past. We tried to give you a feel of being on campus and experience its vibrant lifestyle. Adding some more colors matching to the rhythm, we have planned out the entire day today. To begin with, let me re-invite Professor Madhusudan Singh, Dean Undergraduate, for the foremost session of the day. Sir's presence in an event is as essential as salt for a delicacy. His out-of-the-box thinking and commitment inspire us to work hard with wholehearted dedication. Today, he will enlighten you with the plethora of opportunities. With this, I request Sir to share his valuable key points with us all.
Good morning to you all. I welcome you all in the third day of our orientation program 2020, and I hope you all are doing well. Today we are on the third day of our orientation program, and I hope the first 2 days you enjoyed uh, knowing about more and more Delhi Technological University, and I hope the interaction with uh, various experts and authority of university, now you are more comfortable in all respect, especially the informations of the university. So, as I said, yesterday we were talking about the academic regulations which will govern the study of our BTech students during their 4 year of study. I wish to uh, start where I left yesterday. I try to expose you the way we evaluate a course at Delhi Technological University. Every course is evaluated in terms of 5 components. We call them a classwork sessional, practical sessional, midterm examination, interim examination, and practical examination in normal situations. And the weightage, etc., I discussed yesterday. Meaning of weightage assigned to each subject in terms of its contact hour called lecture, tutorial, practical, we define in terms of credit, and I hope that also you have uh, understood yesterday. Uh, I told you about the academic registration. Every semester you start your academic activity start with the very first task, that is registration, and I hope you all uh, are supposed to register for the first semester program, and for that we will notify separately a schedule, and I request you all to continuously see our website dtu.ac.in. Uh, we had a flexible system of credit registration in each semesters. Regularly, a regular student usually uh, register for 20 to 22 credits, but depending on your uh, capability and plan, you can uh, register any credit between 16 to 32. So upper limit is 32, maximum 8 courses you can study in a semester. I also just try to show you the courses you will be studying in this semester, especially semester 1, group A1 to 18, these 6 subjects, and again B1 to B18, another 6 subjects. 2 subjects are common to A and B group of students, that is mathematics 1, physics 1. Uh, if you recall our study discussion, I told you there are there is a special scheme of evaluation for the current semesters. It is different than the normal, uh, keeping in view the current situation going in the country, that is the pandemic issue. There is a continuous evaluation scheme, and for every course, you have to appear for few class tests and few surprise tests. Uh, you will appear for three class test 1, class test 2, class test 3, and two surprise test 1 and 2. These five tests together will evaluate your in semester component, what I said, ETE. So 40% weightage of your subject will be evaluated using these five tests. The remaining practical and classwork will be evaluated based on your regular performance in your laboratory, online laboratory work, and classwork. And there is a provision for innovative projects. The teacher will assign you few projects, and you have to do it in a group of two students. That will be again presented before the teacher concerned, and you will be evaluated. So this is the scheme of evaluation. Here there won't be any formal midterm and interim exam, mind. This is only for the coming semester, which you are going to join. Let me tell you a very important aspect of our academic evaluation scheme, that is called grading system. Every course which you study in a semester is finally graded. Uh, for grading, we have a 10-point uh, grade system where the highest grade is assigned a weightage of 10. Uh, and how we assign a grade to a student, it all depends on your uh, classwork performance, which are evaluated in different components, which I said you. We have five components we call classwork sessional, practical sessional, midterm exam, interim exam. So based on the mark scored by students in all these five components out of 100, uh, the grades are assigned. Now we have a relative grading system. I hope this relative grading system you may not be aware, but grading system in absolute form, I hope you know, because many of you while studying in class 10 were graded in that system. Where if you remember, you were given the highest grade A plus for a range of mark, maybe 92 and above were given A plus. That's called absolute grading because the marks are fixed. The range of marks are fixed for a particular grade. In a relative grading system, your performance is evaluated based on the class performance, not only the individual performance, but the class performance. So the average of the class is used to determine the highest grade and the lowest grade in the class. So you can understand if the difficulty level of a course is higher, in that case, it's quite possible that in general the class is for lower mark. But if the average of the class is low, even though you may get adequate grade, and that's the benefit of relative grading system. So your all five component of evaluation ultimately compiled, and that is having a weightage of 100. So you understand that every subject will be evaluated out of 100, and that 100 marks will be used for awarding a grade in a subject based on the relative grading system, where the mean of the class is determined, and based on the mean, the higher and lower grades are decided. Uh, we have this grading system. As I said, we have a 10-point scale for grades. The highest grade in a subject is called outstanding grade. We refer it to O. Its weightage, its numerical weightage is 100. The next highest grade is A plus, called excellent, and its weightage is 9. The third grade is A, very good, weightage is 8, and so on. You see that the last pass grade is P. So if you get a P grade in a subject, it means that you get a weightage of 4 out of 10, and even that grade is considered pass. So if you score any grade between the highest one, that is O to P, you are suppose it is understood that you completed that course and you earn the credit of that course. Uh, if your total mark in a subject is less than 35, you are assigned a F grade, and F grade means you have to repeat the subject again, and for that you have to re-register the subject and you have to do the course afresh. Now all the subjects are graded, and the performance of all the subject in a semesters are together used to determine your semester grade point average, we call SGPA. So every semester you will be given a SGPA based on your performance in that semester. Now the cumulative performance of all semester is called CGPA. And if you look this formula, I hope you can easily understood. CI is the credit of a particular course. P is the grade you scored in that course, and this PI means the numeral value of that grade. So suppose you got a O grade in a subject, it means this P1 is 10, right? And like that in second grade, second subject you got suppose A plus, then P2 will be 9. So these all subjects together in a semester decides your SGPA, and all subjects over 8 semester or 4 year decide your CGPA. So CGPA is important, and that shows your depth in the your area of study, and we expect that all of you should try to maintain a good CGPA and SGPA. As usual, attendance and leave provisions are there in our academic regulations, and usually we expect that all students in professional courses must attend every lecture, tutorial, practicals, and project work assigned. However, in special cases, if you are unable to uh, attend, if you are able to, you are unable to attend few classes, in that case, uh, we have a relaxation in attendance up to 25%. So a minimum of 75% attendance is essential to appear in your in-term exam. So you should be very cautious while attending the classes, that in no case your attendance fall below 75%. However, it's a good practice that if you attend all classes, it's indicate your strength. So try to make your attendance as your strength and attend all classes. Uh, ensure that you are present in each and every lecture and tutorial practical class. All components are equally important in the process of teaching and learning. Never take it casual that if it is a laboratory work, it's a less serious work. Laboratory works are more serious work in professional studies, and I hope you should understand the gravity of that and go ahead. So 75% attendance criteria is essential, and you all should keep in mind. We have a provision for makeup exam, especially in normal situation when we used to conduct offline exam for midterm and offline exam for intern. Uh, and if one or other region, especially medical region, if you are unable to appear in a particular exam, you can apply for a makeup exam within a week of the exam over, and you may be given an opportunity for a makeup exam based on the genuinity of region you cited. Unless and until it is essential and you are not able to come to the institute, or you are not able to appear in the exam, then only you should think for this option. Usually for small regions, I always advise you don't miss any exam. Uh, we have a provision for summer semesters, and this provision is especially for you people. I mean, the students who are going to join in 2021 session, they will be benefited by this provision. Uh, Summer semester is a provision for clearing the subject if you have pending in the previous years. So for example, if you are unable to pass a subject in first attempt, and you are awarded F grade, how you will able to uh, clear that subject? There is one option that uh, we conduct a summer semester during uh, May, June, and these summer semesters offers only core courses of your uh, program. So as I said in the beginning, that every program has a set of core courses, a set of common courses, and few electives. So summer semester is offered to run only core courses, and if you have been awarded a F grade in any core course, you can re-register that course in the coming summer semester, and uh, you will have a regular teaching for that course if the number of students are more than 15, and uh, the evaluation etc will be conducted in the same way as it is done in regular semesters. So if you are unable to clear a particular subject, maybe say a subject of first semester or second semester, so you will see that at the end of second semester we will offer summer course, and if that course is offered in the summer semester, you can register for that course, you can attend classes for that course, and you will have a fresh evaluation, and you will be awarded a grade based on your performance, and that way you can clear the subject. For example, if you are not able to attend a summer course and you have a pending course, then you can re-register that course whenever it is offered during regular semester. When I say regular semester, means the regular semesters runs from August to December, and then January to May. So during the regular semester, if a course is offered and you have a pending course, you can always re-register with previous batches. You can do it fresh, and you can clear that subject. Well, there is a fee structure for summer semester, right? And you have to follow that fee structure if you are participating in summer semester. Now, there is a provision of withdrawal, and many students are not aware of these provisions, though this complete regulation is available in our website, dtu.ac.in. I again repeat, you all regularly used to see our dtu.ac.in academic UZ icon, and you will see all these details there. Even you can see your full uh, 1 to 8 semester course details there. The subjects will be taught, their syllabus, everything is available on the website. So please visit our website regularly. There is a withdrawal provision, as I said. Suppose you registered for a semester, and one or other reason you feel that I may not able to continue. Uh, I will not able to attend classes, maybe due to medical reason or some family reason. In that case, within 4 weeks of start of semester, you can apply for withdrawal of either semester or a withdrawal of year or a withdrawal of a course. Many a times you see that there are 6 courses and you find that I may not able to uh, carry over all 6 courses together. In that case, you can drop even a course, or due to medical reason, you can drop a complete semester. Now, if you apply within 4 weeks and you are given a permission for withdrawal, then there is no need of uh, paying fee, etc. Once again you rejoin the program. So obviously, if you have withdrawal, you would like to join after some time. When you join, and there is no additional fee for that, because you have already completed those requirements, and that is continued. We have a termination of enrollment, and we expect that in the enrollment of anybody should not be terminated unless and until it is a really a extraordinary situation. But yes, if you are absent for a long time, maybe continuously more than 4 weeks, it's quite possible that on the information given by your class teacher, your enrollment in that particular course or in that particular program may be terminated. Uh, you may also note this provision, that is, if you are doing a semester, if you are registered in a semester, suppose for 6 courses and total 22 credits. So out of those 22 credits, uh, you have to clear at least 30% credit in first attempt. So suppose you are enrolled in first semester, you will completing 6 course. Next semester again 6 course. So over the year you are supposed to complete around 40 credits, 20 in each semester. So out of 40 credits, you have to clear at least uh, 12 credits in first attempt. Otherwise, you may not able to go in the next semester. So these are a few a few restrictions, and I hope with these restrictions you should keep in mind. We have different type of scholarship scheme, as you may be aware. Details of these scholarship schemes available on our website. But yes, if your family income is less than 2.5 lakh, 2.5 lakhs, even in our university, we have a provision for fee concessions, and there is a notification. You have to apply for that. There is a committee which is scrutinized, and you need to go through that process if you want to avail this benefit. During the course of study, especially after third year, when you start project work, etc., you will see that in project there is a requirement of publications. You are supposed to publish your research, and then the weightage for publishing the uh, research has some weightage in the grade you are awarded. So your grading of projects mainly is based on your publications, and for publications, if there is a requirement of attending a conference, you will be paid for that from the university. So that is called travel grant. So if you want to attend a conference, you will happy to know that the university funds for those expenditures. Merit scholarship, if you are a topper of a branch, uh, based on the annual performance, you are given some merit scholarship. These are different scholarship scheme of government of Delhi and government of India, and especially the students who are admitted in SC, ST, OBC category, and even the students who belongs to low income group. They can see all these scholarship notifications. Time to time, we issue notification for applying this scholarship, and you also try to see and apply it timely so that you can get benefit. I hope there are so many schemes, and if you are a needy student, you should be careful. Uh, and if you apply, certainly you'll get the benefit. Uh, Now, for all activities related to academics, we in the university we have a section called academic UG section, and you can understand that for undergraduate BTech student, academic UG section is the main guardian, and for any kind of issues, you should approach to this section in normal days. Now, since the university is uh, running in online mode, especially, we request all of you to contact this email for any issues. So please note that there is an email called aracademic@dtu.ac.in. If you have any issue, uh, don't hesitate in writing the issue. You will get a reply, right? And any issue related to your iCard, related to timetable, uh, in midterm, intern makeup examination, or government scholarship, or DTU fee concessions, or any kind of matters related to bona fide certificate, migration certificate, fee structure, travel grant. All these matters are dealt by this section, academic UG section. We have a office, and there are provisions for interaction with students. During normal day, you can visit, or even in Delhi, even now you can visit and get your queries addressed there. So this section deals from your registration process till award of degree, that is convocation. So this is in brief the short presentation on academic regulation of Delhi Technological University. These are just few photographs of our last year orientation, when orientation was conducted in offline mode. Our Honorable Chief Minister of Delhi, Sri Arvind Kejriwal, and Deputy Minister of Deputy Minister and Education Minister Sri Manish Sisodiya were present in that function. And if I hope this year could have been a normal year, you could have that opportunity to see them again. But well, with this, I would like to close my presentation. But I again request all of you to see these regulation in our website, dtu.ac.in, and even the full syllabus of your program on our dtu.ac.in. And if there is any query, you can write email, the mail I mentioned. So with this, I close my presentation today, and I hope that our 3-day orientation program for BTech student was quite meaningful, and it has benefited all of you uh, by knowing more and more about Dell Technological University and various academic activities. We have still third day left, and many speakers who will join in few hours. I request all of you to remain connected and get benefit of those speakers. So with this, I close my presentation. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir, for such an in-depth and detailed information about the academic process and curriculum. This has already proven its significance by rooting its alumni as experts for this professional world. Now, moving from academics to creativity, we present the glimpses of different societies consisting of more than 85 domains. These societies will provide a platform to hone your personality in creating an all-rounded professional.